Ukrainian official calls for more aid as fierce fighting rages in the east. Ukraine's deputy foreign minister thanked allies for their military aid to Ukraine thus far, but also emphasized the country's need for even more help to defeat Russia. Andriy Melnik called on Ukraine's partners to cross all artificial red lines and devote 1% of GDP to supply weapons to Ukraine. Our allies have to comprehend the scale of this war, the deputy minister said in a conversation with Ukrainian media Friday. The support needs to be 10 times bigger right now. Here are other headlines you should know. On the ground, the situation in the eastern Ukrainian cities of Avdiivka and Marinka remains very difficult, with Kyiv's troops holding off constant Russian attacks, Ukrainian military spokesperson Oleksiy Dmytrashkivsky said Saturday. Russian forces have stormed Ukrainian positions 24 times in the area during the last day, Dmytrashkivsky said. He claimed the assaults were not successful and Moscow's troops have retreated each time. Meanwhile, in the eastern city of Bakhmut, Russia's regular forces and fighters from the Wagner private military company are also launching non-stop assaults, according to Ukrainian commanders on the front lines. Expelled diplomats. Russia's foreign ministry said Saturday it has decided to expel German diplomats from Russia in what it called a tit-for-tat move, after the ministry claimed German authorities decided to further expel Russian diplomatic employees in Germany. More than 20 German diplomats are being expelled, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova said in an interview on the Zvezda TV Telegram channel Saturday. Belgorod bomb. Around 3,000 people in the Russian city of Belgorod were evacuated Saturday after a bomb was found near the area where a Russian warplane dropped an explosive late Thursday, Russian state media TASS reported, citing local emergency services. The evacuees cleared out of 17 residential buildings as explosive specialists assessed the ammunition found Saturday, according to TASS. Officials eventually said there was no danger of explosion. Brazil's president defends remarks on Russia and Ukraine after protesters show up at state visit. Facing criticism for recent remarks on Russia and Ukraine, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said Saturday that he is simply calling for peace and restraint. Lula was greeted by protesters during a state visit to Portugal this weekend, as he attempts to de-escalate comments that seem to suggest both nations were at fault for the ongoing war, prompted by Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022. I never equated Russia and Ukraine. I know what an invasion is and what territorial integrity is. But now the war has already started and someone needs to talk about peace, the Brazilian president said in a tweet Saturday. Lula's most recent comments, the Brazilian president added fuel to the fire of older remarks on the invasion when he criticized the U.S. last week for encouraging the war in Ukraine. The United States needs to stop encouraging war and start talking about peace. The European Union needs to start talking about peace so that we can convince Putin and Zelensky that peace is in the interest of everyone and that war is only interesting, for now, to the two of them, Lula said to journalists last weekend. Lula has since attempted to avert his previous comments by denouncing the violation of Ukraine's territorial integrity, while doubling down on his call for peace between both nations. While my government condemns the violation of Ukraine's territorial integrity, we advocate a negotiated political solution to the conflict, Lula said in a speech following his meeting with Romanian President Klaus Iohannis on Wednesday. Ukraine's response. The Brazilian president's approach puts the victim and the aggressor on the same scale, Oleg Nikolenko, a spokesperson for Ukraine's foreign minister, said Tuesday. Countries that help Ukraine defend itself against deadly aggression are accused of encouraging war, does not correspond to the real state of affairs, the spokesperson wrote on Facebook. Ukraine to welcome Brazilian presidential official. Ukraine is also set to host Brazil's chief presidential advisor as both nations continue to have diplomatic talks, Ukrainian Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Andriy Melnik tweeted Saturday. Marcio Macedo, Minister of the General Secretariat of the Republic of Brazil, confirmed on Twitter that the advisor, Celso Amorim, is going to Ukraine. At the request of President Lula, Brazil is committed to contributing to the promotion of dialogue and peace, and the end of this conflict, Macedo said in another tweet. CNN's Maria Knight contributed to this post. 18 hours 51 minutes ago. Ukraine needs far more military support to defeat Russia this year, Foreign Ministry official says. From CNN's Maria Knight. Ukraine needs to receive significantly more military support than allies have provided so far in order to finish Russian aggression this year, Ukraine's Deputy Foreign Minister Andriy Melnik said. We are thankful to our allies for their military help. But it is not enough. Ukraine needs 10 times more to finish Russian aggression this year, Melnik tweeted. He called on Ukraine's partners to cross all artificial red lines and devote 1% of GDP to supply weapons to Ukraine. Our allies have to comprehend the scale of this war, the deputy minister said in a conversation with Ukrainian media Friday. Melnik cited U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's comment that an international coalition has so far provided Ukraine with $55 billion worth of support. That seems like a large number. But in contrast with the Second World War, where, unfortunately, more and more parallels can be drawn, over $50 billion worth of help was supplied under U.S. Lend-Lease alone in the 1940s, the Ukrainian official said. The equivalent today would be around $700 to $800 billion. What Ukraine has received from allies, modern battle tanks are among the key contributions provided to Ukraine by Western allies, with Ukrainian forces set to begin training on how to operate Abrams tanks next month. The coalition's $55 billion in security assistance for Ukraine has included more than 230 tanks and more than 1,550 armored vehicles and other equipment and munitions, according to Austin.